Good evening, everyone. My name is Paul Young. I'm just going to walk you through Northern Ontario, especially the government policies related to Northern Ontario. Part of the reason why I want to do this, I want to start highlighting key geography areas in terms of the economic challenges they're faced, and part of those challenges are faced both on a logistics perspective as well as government policies. They're dragging out development, and development's key to attract foreign direct investment to help open up opportunities in areas like Northern Ontario. Now, this is one perspective and one view of Northern Ontario and its policies as well as the economic structure. It's not deemed to be the only source. You're more apt to go out to the internet and do your own searches on Northern Ontario to understand what's going on there. Even banking sites, the mining associations, forestry, whoever you want, to kind of see their perspective as well. A little bit about myself. I'm a CPA, CGA by trade. I have over 25 years of experience in academia, industry, as well as financial solutions. So my perspective looks at all angles of policy. I'm agnostic to any particular party, but I am about solutions. So I'll talk about what Northern Ontario is. I'm going to bring in the commodity price because that drives how development's being done in terms of the mining and forestry sector. I'll talk a bit about those individual sectors like forestry and mining. I'll talk a bit about the issues facing Northern Ontario and the keys to its future, as well as overall government policies. Now, Ontario, if you look at Northern Ontario, it's a huge, enormous area of Ontario, and there's only about 730,000 people that live in that geographic area, and the distance between cities is enormous. So it's a logistic nightmare for a lot of companies. But that being said, it's key to the economic growth of Ontario and how we manage it. That being said, the key aspects of its economy are mining, forestry, tourism, metal fabrication, farming, and power generation. Now, we all know the commodity prices are going through a downturn, but that doesn't mean down the road that we don't need to get certain part of policies out of the ground in terms of environmental assessments to be ready for the next uptick in that cycle as world economies start to grow, especially in growth markets like Africa, India, Southeast Asia. All those areas are looking for the raw materials to work with them, help develop roads, bridges, their marketplace. So they're going to need minerals, they're going to need forestry products, and that's what the North brings to the table. Now, the forestry industry has considerable amount of challenges. One is the stumpage fees. That's the fees that the cost for the logs is critical and drives in terms of the cost of a business. Hydro rates are killing forestry industries, but they've come up with alternative means. So when you go up into Espanola and look at the mill up in Espanola, some of it they're using sawdust or wood chips as part of the power generation. Okay, so that's part of it. There's other issues too in terms of the pulp business and market itself is shrinking because there's less and less paper required, so the pulp makers do. But it's becoming more about specialty paper, so you'll see that opportunity. Housing market is very strong in US and Canada, plus as we open up with TPP or other trade agreements, we allow more opportunity for our lumber to be exported to other jurisdictions. The mining sector itself has gone through a kind of a change in Ontario. It started a few years back when the government decided to push all negotiations on mining companies as part of working with First Nations. In other words, it put the pressure on junior miners to work on deals on leasing land for mining opportunities. Now, what that means, it takes a lot longer to do that and cause a lot more pain. So the government didn't really come to the table as an equal partner to work with mining companies, and that's something to bear in mind. What's the keys here? Well, hydro rates are a big issue across Canada. Across Ontario, and in Canada as well. Because of that, it's hard for a small business or even certain operations to open up because of the hydro costs. Now there's opportunities that they're looking at, biomass or internal options to help them reduce their costs, but it's still an issue. High unemployment, because when you deal with commodities, you deal with opportunities. There's not much outside a core business in those towns. They're one industry towns. So there needs to be a bit of diversification. Also needs more opportunities, how you can expand the local economy, maybe some entrepreneurship. Remote access. If you look at Northern Ontario, some of those communities, First Nations, are completely remote. so they don't have road access. We also have a lot of geographic challenges between the major cities, so moving goods and services is a problem. It's problematic as well. So what do we need to do here? Okay, well, all provincial parties, with the exception possibly Saskatchewan, are big on the green movement. But what people don't understand, to get green movement, it requires certain materials: vanadium, rare metals, lithium. China controls a lot of those rare metals, and I call green materials. So that being said, Ontario has huge deposits. The problem is, we've got a regulatory nightmare to get these minerals out of the ground to process them. That has to change. That's why we've got deposits like the Chromite in the Ring of Fire. That's why we got some vanadium up towards Timmins. That's why we got some lithium up towards Dryden. These are critical materials, so if you're talking about green infrastructure that Justin Trudeau's talking about, you need to be able to have some of that material extracted in Canada because it creates jobs. But we're not hearing that discussion about developing resources, and that's critical. That's why I listed to them. We also have two big ports up there that can help expand exports and opportunities: Sault Ste. Marie and Thunder Bay. They can help move goods to market quicker if we had a commitment from federal, provincial governments to expand those ports, to make them hubs. That's an opportunity. The forestry deal. There needs to be a new lumber deal that's being negotiated right now. That will benefit the sawmills in Ontario. That's critical. We also need a pro-government that's continue to focus on trade agreements. That's critical too, to help the forestry sector up in the north. Tourism is still always will be a big thing up there. We need to continue to find ways to attract people in terms of tourism. Maybe look at the tax policies that we do as part of supporting to help incentive the tourism industry. We may want to look at that. We may also want to look at different opportunities in the agricultural sector to help make it work up there in terms of the hobby farms and stuff like that. That's other opportunities. But the North needs the right policies between regulations as well as freedom to make choices. Now, the government policies themselves, despite what the federal government's done, as well as the provincial government, they haven't reduced the environmental assessment time. I'm not saying that we don't care about the environment, but there needs to be a way to close that down, because that's causing problems to get projects off the ground. Projects not coming off the ground means lack of investment. Lack of investment means lack of jobs. It's the jobs that bring in the income as well as the corporations that give you the social programs. We need to do that. It's not clear what this green infrastructure program will be, but it is clear that we need rare metals. It is clear we need lithium. It is clear we need graphite. It's clear we need vanadium. So if we're going to do that, then part of green infrastructure should be looking at mining developments as to pull that material out as part of the incentive to have a made in Canada solution. I'm all about solutions here. I'm not here to pick on any government, but politics have to stop being dictated from a central government to work with the individuals to decentralize decisions to make sure projects can get off the ground to benefit overall economic growth. Because it's economic growth that's going to drive the tax dollars. Despite what governments say in terms of spinning things around, a strong economy allows you opportunities to do more things with social programs. And that's the critical aspect of anything you want to drive. Northern Ontario has to start being part of a solution. All governments have kind of swept it under the table, but it has to be part of the solution as part of the overall economic growth. Same with Northern Quebec. Same with looking up Northwest Territories. Same with the way we treat Alberta and Saskatchewan. We have to look at ways to support industries so that if we decide to go more green, that's fine. But it has to be the right balance of policies. Thank you.